Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys and girls, and welcome to this. This is Talk to Transformer, a modern neural network where you type in a phrase and then it gives you a whole paragraph. And I thought it would be amusing to try and treat this as an actual writing thing and see what it comes with and read stuff in a dramatic tone when it comes up with it. So let's type in like Benjamin or Benjamin. I don't know how to spell Benjamin. Benjamin walked down the street in the moonlight. So let's see what Transformer comes up with. It's a working. Here we are. Now let's see. Oh, this is a full paragraph. Benjamin walked down the street in the moonlight. He found an alley and passed through it without arousing suspicion. The cold ground made him pause, and he expected to hear the clacking of tires as he passed. He remembered now that those were his usual haunts. At last, with a sudden turn, he arrived at his family's front door. It was a poor, sagging, red brick home, completely boarded up, a shadow of its former glory. The latch was undone. The wall was dusting over with sheets of plywood and piled on top of each other. Well then, how about that? Inside the house, he stared at the wreckage. After all, we have to find out what's going to happen. Well, that ends oddly. Inside the house, he stared at the wreckage through the shards of glass. He noticed nothing was gone, but other clothing on the bed, nothing else. Before she could continue, his father stopped her. No one can change the past, but I can help, he said gently. He began to flail, as if trying to catch someone in the air. She stepped backwards as noise was heard. Wicked! She yelled. His father dropped to the floor and stared at the floor. Well, what is this? He cried, holding the puffer fish. Uh-oh. Let's fix that so it makes more sense. Uh-oh, this is starting to become Lovecraftian. 2 paragraphs. What is this? He cried, holding the puffer fish in his hand. What is this inside my mind? I cannot fathom it. It is beyond my imagination, and it is haunting me beyond all my sense of truth. It is coming for me, and now I am lost. I know that I cannot fix your dark, unshakable nightmare. The prospect of adding horror to your life is horrifying, but it is possible. Yes, I will provide you with a horror cure to take your mind away from the vertigo and defeat the nightmare if it is not... Goodness gracious, if it is not what? Nightmare if it is not inside this jelly jar. Well then. Really? Nightmare if it is not inside this jelly jar, said Coach Pegula. Article continues below. Comet Ping Pong is located on 88th Street and has 12 employees. Company owner Jim Conger has confirmed that 3 of the 12 employees are former ping pong stars. Conger and several employees issued a statement to the employer regarding their firing. Conger was upset, and his issues, according to his statement, involved Penn State's handling of the athletic department's financial crisis, the extent of which could have led... This is really going in strange places, isn't it? Let's see if there's any sort of resolution. Hokey smokes. Well, that is interesting indeed. Could have led to the social unrest and violence that we have seen throughout the Middle East. Speaking to a conference in Washington, however, Abbas dismissed the reports of recent violence. He said Israel must commit itself to security while facing the emerging and ever more dangerous threat from terrorist groups. Mr. Abbas also warned against violence in the West Bank in particular and said he would not take part in any demonstration there. Israel says the PA and Hamas use the West Bank as a base for attacks on Israel. Palestinians say this is really starting to get into stuff that I'm not even going to worry about. So what we'll head back to is not Haji, but he stared through the glass at his old home. See if we can bring this back to the original tale. I don't... Well, he stared through the glass at his old home in the city. The new estate, before it was used for testing the laws of the world, looked like an armory filled with all kinds of weapons. Percival's collection included everything from crossbows to sabers, something he'd never even considered owning. This meant the world was ready for him to return home. Caleb banged on the door a few times, trying to get the pair's attention. He could hear some of the home's residents snoring softly, but his friends remained awake. But what about Benjamin? What about Benjamin? What happened to Benjamin and his tale? Oh dear. But what about Benjamin? He could have been very useful to the Ravens, especially if they're on their way to losing its starting center to free agency. Benjamin hasn't posted a sack in 16 games since last season. My cat's going crazy. And the Ravens didn't draft him to be an every-down player, but that might not matter too much if the new running back Ray Rice is having a more meaningful season. His blocking might be a liability with Rice rehabbing from a torn pectoral muscle, but his rushing stats wouldn't surprise me. Rice ranked 6th among running backs and rushing yards per game. What does this have to do with his old home? I mean, really now? Well, oh my God. What does this have to do with his old home? This is another one of those accounts where the reader gets so busy poking holes in the story that they lose sight of the bigger picture of what really happened here. Yeah, I'm lost. What happened to Benjamin in his own home? So here's another update on the baby spiders and what I have found in the mosquito egg and snail cocoons. First, before going too far in the direction of giving any more details on what happens in the tiny spider cocoons, which are egg-like and dark in color, I thought I'd put together a few photos that we are never going to learn about Benjamin, are we? I have a feeling the answer is no. We are never going to learn about Benjamin, are we? Oh, we all know what we have to do to never be going to learn about Benjamin. Indeed, we have to be indoctrinated with his hopes and wishes for the coming world of liberty and hope. Our entire culture has been brainwashed into blindly following that foolish human construct. What you do once you have been indoctrinated is that you take all the facts provided by Uncle Sam, and that's all you know. All you have is what you learned in school. We are diving into a rabbit hole of conspiracies, aren't we? I type with 2 fingers, my index finger on this one and my middle finger on this one, so I type like this. We are diving into a rabbit hole of conspiracies, aren't we? I think this is another case of like magic. My sister actually said Another case of nonsensical reasoning, and it doesn't surprise me at all that the government is one of the chief suspects. Michael Wright, Scientology's former Director of Finance and Office of Strategic Initiatives, was let go in July 2005 for this very reason. It was explained in June 2006 that the government's investigation was in that month focused on global Scientology, and to what extent it had acted in a coordinated way. No, not Scientology. I want to know about Benjamin. Not Benjamin. Benjamin, there we are. No, not Scientology. I want to know about Benjamin Bernstein? 25-inch, he shot 10 times. Reptile sounds, 1 hour 40 minutes and 7 minutes 15 second time stance. My go on surf tape setups. Don't tell. I don't think we're ever going to learn about Benjamin. This is an interesting little website. You can do odd things with it, but really, it's not going to come up with any sort of coherent story. But still, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, my friend, and that is a very good thing.